Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to Atyok Tutorials video channel. In this tutorial we'll try to set up MySQL, the latest version available at the moment of recording, 8.0. I'll also show you how to install previous 5x versions as well. We'll set up MySQL in Apache+PHP CentOS server, and you may use this tutorial to set up MySQL to dedicated CentOS server as well. So let's start. In general, first we will install and configure MySQL. Then we'll create our first database, test it, and connect to our database from our local PC. So first I'll install this utils. We'll use Nano text editor throughout the tutorial to edit files. This is my web server. You may also check my tutorials on how to set up CentOS VM in VMware Workstation Player, and also another tutorial on how to set up Apache and PHP web server in CentOS. Well, next we will download the RPM package from official website, from official link. Let's download it. You may find the URL of RPM packages from this site. So here it is. Let's download it. So as you can see, this is the needed RPM package. Let's now install this package. Well, next let's check the available MySQL versions. So as you can see, the available versions are 8.0 and 5.7, 5.6 and 5.5, and only 8.0 is enabled. So to change the version of MySQL that you want to install, we need to edit this file. So as you can see, this version is enabled. For example, if you would like to install 5.7 version, you will change this to 0 and send this to 1. So I'll install the latest version, which is 8.0. So to install MySQL, let's use this command. Well, next let's start the MySQL service and add it to auto start list of the server. Well, next let's configure the MySQL. Well, here we will use this password. Now we'll define the new password for the root user. I'll define it as this, adhoctudes 2018, and this symbol. Let's type no, no, yes. Disallow root login remotely, yes. Remove test database, yes. And yes. Well, now that our MySQL is installed and configured, let's check the existing version. So we may use this command or this command. Well, as you can see, the current version is 8.0.11. Also, you may use this command to update the MySQL server. So let's run it. So our MySQL is up to date. Also, we may remove the RPM file. Now let's go through some configuration options of MySQL. So MySQL configuration file is located here. Let's edit it using Nano text editor. These are some basic and important configuration options. The most important one is this. So you may set this parameter. So if your server is dedicated to MySQL, so you may specify this parameter as 70% of the available memory. But if you install MySQL in the Apache and PHP configured web server, you may specify this parameter based on how much memory you have reserved for PHP and Apache. So maybe you should specify it as 30, maybe 40% of the memory. The slow query log parameter is needed to register the long-running queries. The general log parameter is needed to register all the queries against the database. The log output parameter specifies the log destination to be the table or a separate file. Also, you may consider this parameter. So this is needed to preserve the compatibility issues. In the latest MySQL 8, there is the default authentication plugin may cause this error. So if you get this error while trying to connect to MySQL, you may use this command. So also you could check all of these parameters in the official documentation. For example, SQL mode parameter. So let's copy and paste them in the configuration file. Let's save it, Ctrl O, enter, Ctrl X. So every time we make the configuration change, we may need to restart the service. So let's restart it. Well, now we need to add the MySQL port to the firewall allowance list. So we should do this using these commands, or alternatively we may disable the firewall using this command. So let's add the MySQL port to allowance list. Now we'll create our first database and a user. So let's log into MySQL console. and run the following command. So first command will create the database. The second command will create user ad hoc tuts. And next we will grant the all privileges on the database ad hoc tuts. Also we'll create a local user. So basically these are different users. Let's run them. And exit the console. Now if you have installed MySQL on Apache+PHP web server, you may check the PHP connectivity. So this command is used to run the inline PHP code. So the first code here will establish connection to our MySQL using PDO. Next we'll run this statement. So this statement basically returns the current installed MySQL version. Next we execute the statement and dump the result to the console. So let's run this. If you are installing MySQL on a dedicated server, you may omit this step. So as you can see, it's working. So here I use the local user ad hoc tuts. So ad hoc tuts at localhost. Next, now we connect to MySQL from our local PC. You may download and use any MySQL client you prefer. I personally like to use Heidi SQL. You may download it from the official website. I have already downloaded and installed it. So let's open this. Let's name it ad hoc tuts. So the IP address of my server is this one. So my user is ad hoc tuts and password is this. So as you can see, I have successfully connected to the database. This is my database. So now we could create our first table, ad hoc table. So let's add some columns: ID, name, surname. Let's save it. So it's working. Let's go to the data tab. We may add some rows. So 1, ad hoc tutorials. So well, we have installed, configured MySQL in CentOS. We have created our first database, first user. We have tested it, and also we have connected to our database using MySQL Client. Well, this is the end of the tutorial. Thanks for watching. I hope it was useful for you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.